I would like to call to order this meeting of the Palos Verdes Library District 1175th Regular Board Meeting. It is September 18th, 2025, and we are starting at 6 p.m. May I have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Trustee Bueller?
Here.
Trustee Easton? Trustee Uno?
Here.
Trustee Wong?
Here.
Madam President, we have a quorum with 3 members present.
Great, thank you. Please join me in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have an adoption of the agenda?
I move that we adopt today's agenda as presented.
I have a motion to adopt the agenda from Trustee Bueller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Okay, President's remarks and board member comments. So it is with great sadness that I announce that Trustee Robert Park passed on August 3rd. Trustee Park was well known for his commitment to the Palos Verdes Library District. He served from 2019 until his recent passing. He was a dedicated member of the Peninsula Friends of the Library and the Library Board of Trustees. And at this time, I would like to have the other trustees say words if they would like to.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that, and I'm very grateful to have been able to serve alongside Bob. I think he, his dedication to the library district and to everything the library represents to the community, I think that was always so evident in all that he did. And I know he was also involved with a variety of other community initiatives involving like youth mentorship and entrepreneurship programs at local schools. And it was a real pleasure to have been able to serve by him, and I'm grateful for his leadership when he was serving as board president, for his mentoring to me when I became the newest member of the board, and so I just want to echo what you've said and extend my condolences also to Sharon and to the Park family.
Thank you.
Basically, I first met Bob when he was a member of the Friends board. Basically knew him through there. As was mentioned, he transitioned from being a board member of Friends of the Library to becoming a member of the Board of Trustees for the Library District. He had a very, very strong sense of community, and we will miss him very much.
Thank you. And
If I may, thank you very much, President Nuno, for this opportunity. I just wanted to say to everybody listening or who may watch this video later, on behalf of the entire staff at the Palos Verdes Library District, we also send our deepest condolences to the Park family, to his wife Sharon, and to his children and grandchildren. He talked about them so much and loved them a great deal. I know the staff really appreciated Trustee Park and his commitment to watching out for them. I know that when there was a kind of challenging situation at one of the branches, he took the time and effort to go out to each branch and talk to the staff. And even though maybe we didn't always agree on everything, I can absolutely say that Trustee Park believed very strongly in the library. Mm-hmm. He believed in in a strong financial future. He believed in what public libraries stand for, what they bring to a committee. If he found something or something came up that he didn't know about, he would read about it, he would investigate it, he would talk to the staff, and I think they felt that. So Yes, we also will miss his steady presence. We will miss his dedication and commitment to us as a library. And we send, again, our really heartfelt thanks to his family for giving him to us for the time that he was with us, and sending them our thoughts and prayers. So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. So we were just announcing Trustee Parks passing, and I was giving people the opportunity to speak.
Wonderful. May I say a few words?
Yes.
I was saddened to hear about Trustee Park's passing. He was a dear colleague and a good friend, and we served 2 terms together, and we attended the California Special District Association Conference together when we first joined, and he was a visionary, a dedicated community member, library trustee, father, husband, and he gave a lot to the library. When I first met him, he spoke at the Veterans Voices program, and I will never forget the story that he told about his service to our country. And he will be very much missed. And I appreciate the community's support of Bob, and I wish the best for his family. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll just have a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Next is all PVLD branches will be closed on Friday, October 17th for Staff Development Day. The administration office will be closed on Wednesday, October 1st through Friday, October 3rd, due to a recarpeting project. I also wanted to make note of that applications are being accepted for the art project, or our community art show. So, get those in if you are interested in participating. Do we have communications and comments from the public regarding items not on the agenda?
No, Madam President, I didn't receive any.
Okay, thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda? Okay. So can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Okay. I have a motion from Trustee Wong to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Oh, sorry, motion passes. Okay, so number 8, items for consideration, we had none. So now we are on to item 9, upcoming Board of Library Trustees conferences and events. Director Addington.
Thank you very much, Madam President. So just a few reminders to the board. On Friday, October 10th, the Park family is holding a celebration of life for Trustee Park at the Palos Verdes Golf Club from 11 to 2. I have gotten notice from his wife Sharon that everyone is invited. So if you're interested in attending that, you can RSVP directly to her, but I think she also appreciates that we will probably be in attendance. Also a reminder that on Friday, September 26th, is the annual Legislative Forum and Luncheon. This will be held at the Palos Verdes Golf Club this year. And as noted in your agenda, the keynote speakers are Congressman Ted Lieu and Assemblymember Al Maritsucci, but I have also been notified that Senator Ben Allen will be in attendance as well. So they have updated the flyers to have all 3 legislators there, so it should be a very good event. I believe all the trustees that expressed an interest in attending tickets have been purchased for you. Also, just a reminder that that same night, Friday, September 26th, The Peninsula Library Friends Foundation are holding a novel night event at the Malaga Cove Gallery and Garden. All of the trustees are invited. This is an event to celebrate their donors and supporters, so we hope to see you there. Just to put kind of a TBD, save the date on your calendars. On Wednesday, November 12th, I am inviting Deborah Doyle from United for Libraries to come and do sort of a board best practices, board training with us. I have the room at the Malaga Cove Gallery and Garden booked for the whole day, but it probably won't be a full day event. So please block that day on your calendars, and there will be more information kind of coming as we plan that out with Deborah. Those are the only highlighted events that we have. Oh, I apologize, there's one more. We spoke a little bit earlier, the California Special District's annual Special District Leadership Academy. I believe most of the trustees have attended this. Just a reminder that it is coming up in November and it is in Monterey again. So just in case anybody's interested. And that, Madam President, are all of our events.
Okay.
Do they have a spring version of that event?
No,
Okay, so it's the one time a year.
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, next is item 10, discussion and approval of the process of filling a vacancy of an unexpired term on the Board of Library Trustees. Director Addington.
Thank you again, Madam President. And thank you, trustees, for giving me an opportunity to explain this. You do have a memo in your packet, which I'll read because I do believe I've tried to capture it all, and then we'll be open to questions. As we have mentioned already today, the unfortunate passing of Trustee Bob Park has created a vacancy on our board. It would be for the remainder of his term, approximately 15 months, going to November 27th, 2026. In accordance with PVLD Policy 8020.5, vacancies on the Board of Trustees, and California Government Code 1780, when a vacancies occur, the remaining trustees must fill that within 60 days, either by appointing a new trustee or by calling an election to be held at the next special district election date. So if the board were to choose to go through an appointment process, then they would vote on that tonight. The notice of vacancy is posted for the public. Applications are accepted by the administration offices, and then interviews are conducted by the trustees. Following interviews, the board would select a trustee, they would swear that trustee in, and that trustee would assume the full responsibilities for the remainder of this unexpired term. Alternately, if the board would rather go down an election, a special election process, then it must be held on the next regular election date, no less than 130 days from the date of vacancy. In this case, the next possible election day would be more than likely June of 2026. The Los Angeles County Registrars of Voters would provide us an estimate for this election, but it could be substantial. I will confess to the board, I have not investigated what the price is. However, just for context, I have given you an example. The Palos Verdes Unified School District is going through this process right now. And they were quoted an estimate of approximately $250,000. As we all know, elections are very expensive, and doing them in kind of an off big year when you have to add your candidate and go through the whole election process, it just becomes almost ridiculously expensive. So given these two options, staff are very strongly recommending that the board proceed with an appointment process. PVLD has done appointment processes in the past. We've done at least 2 or 3. We have kind of a process in place, and I've given you a little bit of an outline of one, should you choose that. But I just believe that we have the capacity, you have the capacity on the board of choosing a successful candidate. The administration staff have the capacity of managing it on the back end. And there's the potential of getting a new trustee to sit on our board at the October meeting. This would allow us to not have only 4, but to get back to our full 5 members and be able to conduct our business until our next regular election cycle. At that point, the trustee who's appointed would either have the opportunity to run for office or not. I mean, that's their choice. But given those 2 choices, we do need to make a decision. The board needs to vote on one of them. And again, happy to answer any questions that I can about that, but staff are strongly suggesting that you choose the appointment process. Yes.
And to clarify even more, if we wanted to go and have a special election in June, that election would only cover the unexpired term.
Correct.
And then, of course.
You'd have to
there would be
pay for an election again.
There would be another election in November.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a great deal of expense, a lot of delay. But those are the 2 options. So the board needs to be aware that there are 2 options and choose one of them. And you understand staff.
I do have a question. So you said that we would have the opportunity to have that person take their seat in October.
Yes.
But I'm a bit confused about that because it does go to the supervisors, right?
Initially, Executive Assistant Bender and I thought, and I will completely admit to this, we thought that there had to be a formal acceptance by the Board of Supervisors office. What we've discovered since is that that is not true. The board interviews, the board selects, the board appoints through a resolution, and the board can swear that new person in. And they can sit that night. We send that information to the Board of Supervisors, who sort of rubber stamps it, they approve it, but by the board itself, selecting, appointing, and swearing in, that person can sit that night. So we did clarify that because we also thought that there might be a delay. And then we kind of had to go back and remember, like, what have we done in the past and what happened in the past? And we looked back at agendas, we looked back at minutes. Typically after the interview, appointment, swearing in process, there's a slight break, opportunity to reset the tables, and then that person actually did join the meeting.
Okay.
Just, may I add one thing
Yes,
to that?
please.
What you're probably thinking about, President Uno, is if a person is elected to the board, then that must go to the Board of Supervisors for approval. But if they're appointed, like Director Eddings said, it's not necessary to go to them.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm not sure this would be considered part of a special election, but when I was researching for my government relations liaison report, there was a mention of a special election for a new act that was passed about the temporary and new congressional maps. And that's coming before the California people. So I assume that's a separate election altogether.
Unfortunately, I don't think we would have the time to make that one. I
Right.
think they've already, like all the materials would already have to be in, we would already have to know all that. And, I mean, if we choose to do the appointment process, we still need to give like 2 weeks for interested candidates to put forth all their stuff.
Right.
So if we were required to do all that, and then we don't have the time to make a November 5th election.
Yeah,
Let's put it that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't solve the question of the cost of the election
Oh,
either. Yeah, it's the
exactly.
same.
And the cost is still there.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
substantial.
speaking of the appointment process, how do you what process do you go through to advertise for the position? You mentioned that you do that, but what are the steps exactly?
So what we would do, if the trustees chose to go through an appointment process, we have prepared, based on previous press releases and announcements, website, and social media posts. So what we would do is tomorrow, if the board chose to do this, tomorrow we would go live with a website of information on how interested candidates would apply for the position. And it would list in there everything that we would require. We copied what we've done in the past and required interested candidates to provide us with a cover letter of interest, a resume, and ideally answers to maybe 3 questions, just to get a little bit of context and kind of where they were coming from or what they thought about the library or trustees or serving on a board. We would also post that to our social media, to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we would send a press release out to the local newspapers and whatnot. We would, of course, I know I personally would promote that through my own social media pages and people that I knew. I would send it to the Chamber of Commerce. I would talk to my contacts in the city halls of the various cities and basically just get the word out there as much as we could. Our initial timeline, which is on the second page of my memo, if we got all of that out tomorrow, if that is in fact what the board wanted to do, I was thinking about basically a 2-week posting period and requiring everybody to submit their documentation by October 5th. So that would be 2 full weeks for interested candidates to get their information to us.
Is that the time frame you've used typically in previous
Yeah,
things?
I
Okay.
mean, I think 2 weeks, even our paid positions, we often will post them for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Doing a 2-week would allow us time to then gather all those submissions in order to get them into the packet for the October regular board meeting. And then the interviews would be done at a regular board meeting, this board meeting, in October. And staff would facilitate the interview process for you, the board, gather all the documentation, have it in the agenda packet. It is a very transparent, very open, very public process. So whoever put their name forward, they would have to understand that, the cover letter that they write, the answers that they give to our essay questions, their resume, if they felt like they wanted to kind of tweak that a little bit for public consumption, that's certainly, a choice of theirs. But enough to get across their qualifications and interest in the position. And then the interviews would actually take place at the October meeting. So at the October meeting, we would interview the candidates. There would be discussion, there would be selection. We would pass a resolution appointing that person. They would actually be sworn in, and then they would sit at the table at the October meeting.
So the answers to the questions would be part of the board packet for next,
Correct.
Time.
The written
the
part
written portion.
would be part of the board packet. So again, being aware that as a public agency, those things have to be public, so they would be part of the board packet. So the trustees would see all of the applications of the various candidates, and then in person, there would be an interview. Again, I would say 4 questions, 1 per trustee, and maybe a final that just says, is there anything else that you would like to add? Depending on the number of candidates, I don't expect anybody having more than maybe 7 to 10 minutes each. So again, depending on the number of candidates, it's either a long meeting or a not as long meeting. But ideally, we end the meeting, well, in the middle of the meeting, we have a full board, which is kind of what we're hoping for in order to continue the rest of Trustee Park's term with a fully seated, vibrant board. And then come the next election process, if those people choose to run, they can or not. And we've had both. We've had appointed candidates who were filling interim seats run and win, and we've had appointed candidates filling interim seats choose not to run. We've had both. So it's totally up to them. But those are the two options. So again, staff is strongly suggesting, strongly recommending that you do the appointment process, but it is a decision that the board needs to make.
Have we ever done the special election process in
No.
the past? Okay.
It's just too costly.
Oh, yeah.
It's just too costly.
And as Kingston pointed out,
Well, the time
it
would
really
be,
wouldn't make sense because we wouldn't have anybody until June.
And then in November, you'd have another election,
Right.
so. So
Okay,
there's two things. I mean, the first is for the board to choose, so we are looking for a motion on which one.
well, I do see someone who is not currently on the board or in the room, in the Zoom room. So do we have any comments from the public?
I'll check my email again, I didn't have any.
Oh, I'm just checking to make sure. Okay. All right, so what are people's thoughts about?
I move that we pursue the appointment process instead of the special election.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion from trustee Butler that we move ahead with the appointment process instead of a election. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay,
Wonderful, thank you very much.
so did you want us to,
So the only other, and we're happy to do this on our own, but I wanted to put this out to the board as well. At the bottom of page 2 of my memo, you'll see that I've suggested some potential questions. Again, just looking for feedback, I like 1, 2, and 5, or whatever. But I've kind of broken it up into two areas. The first would be a written question that's part of the application process. I was using previous questions that were used, a combination of what I felt like we would want to hear from an interested candidate, and then what we would want to maybe see in writing versus what they would say in person. I welcome any thoughts on these, or if there's one or two that you guys think you particularly like or would like to see or hear, or if there is something that I have not captured here, knowing that you do have an opportunity, the individuals are being asked to submit a cover letter, which ideally would cover some of this, a resume that would give us at least a general idea of their background. And then I just thought 1 to 3 of the written application questions and, maybe 4 of the in-person questions. If there's any that stood out to you or that you liked in particular, I'd welcome that feedback.
okay,
I think the second bulleted question on the written application questions is a yes/no answer, and all of the other ones are more open-ended. I wonder if we could, if you're looking to shorten the number of questions, if we could maybe ask as part of the first question, what
Kind of
experience
like
do you
an
have?
A/B.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Great idea.
Will somebody read the questions? I have to change the press release to send out tonight.
We'll craft it.
Okay.
okay, so on the in-person interview questions, I think that number 3, do you have the time to fully commit to the role, including attending library and community events, participating in special meetings, and serving on subcommittees, is a particularly important question to ask.
Good. I thought that was important to ask in person too, because I agree with Trustee Easton. It has the potential of also being a yes, no. But I think in person, there's an opportunity to elaborate a little bit more.
Right.
So,
Well, and I think it just carries the weight. This is an important position, and it is important that we be here. And so I think it's relevant.
great. Are there any that don't resonate with you very well? Because it's also easy to just kind of take one off and then we can go with the others if you'd like. I was originally thinking for the written application, just having 3. So if the first question is, what experience do you have of serving on an elected or appointed board? Kind of, comma, have you ever served on a board of a public agency? Make that one question. Then, is there one more there that you like kind of don't like, or you think would be better asked in person, or?
Well, I think, having 4 questions isn't too much to ask.
And that's fine too? You like 4? Perfect, let's do it. So in the in-person interviews, we know we like the one about the time. Again, I personally thought 1 question per trustee with a final, just, is there anything more that you'd like to add? So if the board was amenable to that, is there one here maybe that you don't like as one? I mean, why do you want to serve? Do you think maybe that would be addressed in a cover letter and maybe not needed to ask in person, or?
I think it's important for people to state that.
Okay.
Yeah. I do think that maybe the 4th question on the in-person interview question kind of goes back to one of the written questions. What are the 2 or 3 benefits a public library provides? What do you think are the biggest challenges facing public libraries? Those are both directed at public libraries. So if you feel that this question could be more thoughtful on the written part, we have it there in case we
That's a good idea.
want to
So we could take it out
narrow
of
it
the
down.
in-person and kind of,
Maybe merge it with number 4.
and merge it with number
number
4
3, I
up in the
guess.
written. Well, that's a good idea. So what
Wait,
do you think
Wait,
some?
what are you proposing?
What I'm proposing is, in the in-person interviews, the question that is, in your view, what are the top 2 or 3 benefits a public library provides, be merged with the written part, where it says, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges facing public libraries today, comma, what do you think are some of the benefits? Or just merge those 2 together, kind of ask 2 questions in one. And have somebody actually write that out as opposed to say it. Or we can ask 5 questions. I mean, again, to the point earlier about 4 questions.
What is the role of public libraries in society, and what are the biggest challenges they face? Something like that would kind of merge.
Well,
Two.
I see that 2 and 4 kind of go together. How do you understand the role of a trustee in relation to library staff and the public? So you can kind of put them together. Or we could just have 5 questions.
We can do that too. I mean, no matter what, we can say to our candidates that, you basically have 2 minutes a question and give them an opportunity to kind of regulate themselves, self-regulate. I'm fine with that too. Gives us a little bit. Okay, perfect. So as we were saying earlier, library staff will put this together. We'll make sure that the questions are available for the written part. We will post tomorrow a press release to all of our press release people We'll put a website up with information. We'll do social media posts. And encourage the trustees to share those social media posts or talk to the people in the community that you know. I'll share them with city managers, and we'll just get the word out.
Okay,
So, great.
all right,
Well, thank you very much. I think we know what we need to do.
okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, well, I have a follow-up question,
Okay.
comment. So, having attended a number of meetings, conferences about trustees and what leads people to want to be trustees, we have a very significant role in front of us. We have the opportunity to select someone, and it's a very important issue. And so what I would hope and what I have heard in the meetings I've attended is, there's the 10 things to know when you are a trustee. And one of them is when you are selecting trustees. And this is organizations where they have opportunities to go out and talk to people. We're not selecting friends, we're selecting someone to join the board, to do work on the board. And so we want to make sure that we are filling that seat with someone who brings something to the board that we don't have. And so we want to make sure that we are bringing basically what we've lost to the board. And so we want to make sure that stays top of mind as we're looking to replace Trustee Park. And so I just want people to keep that in mind when we're looking at who we're replacing that seat with. Okay, so that was all I wanted to say.
May I ask one more question?
Sure.
For those of you who have been involved with this in the past, what's typically the number of applicants you've seen in an appointment process like this?
I've seen everywhere from 2 to 4.
okay.
Typically, it's not more than that.
Okay, thanks.
I think the record was 7.
Did we have 7
But-
last?
Yeah, and then of course, when they saw that there were so many in the room, some actually decided to bow out.
Well, I was going to say, I think
Well,
I've absolutely seen that, where as soon as people realized, oh, you guys are okay, you have options,
Yeah.
they've pulled themselves out. So, but yeah, I think 7 was the absolute, if that was true, I don't remember that one before my time.
Okay, so the next item is item number 11, update on Palos Verdes Library District and Peninsula Library Friends Foundation Joint Agreement. Director Addington.
Very quick update, just wanted to let the trustees know that I did meet with Peninsula Library Friends Foundation President Susan Paul on Monday. They had gotten our edits that I had worked on with Kevin Ennis of Richard Watson Gershon. They went out to their own legal counsel, came back with very minor changes. There's probably only 1 or 2 areas that we're really kind of even talking about right now. I think it's looking very good. And I got all their edits. I've shared them with Kevin. We're kind of having a little bit of back and forth. So I feel I'm incredibly hopeful that we will have a final version to the board in October. I think we're very, very close. We're only one or two things that were just kind of wordsmithing a little bit. But other than that, I think we're very close. So just wanted to give you that quick update.
Any questions about that? Okay. Next is item 12, approval of revisions to personnel policy number 1112, dress code.
The dress code.
Deputy Director Roy.
Thank you, President Uno. As I mentioned in the memo, this is something that came to us as a proposal from representatives of our union, SEIU 721, through our Joint Labor Management Committee that meets quarterly. And there's a lot of edits and red lines in this, but a lot of that is cleaning up the language and making it just easier to read and more consistent. And I think at its heart, there's really only two very substantive changes, and that would be we added some language about personal hygiene, which references strong odors, fragrances, things like that. And then we also, the heart of the proposal that the union was making was that we consider allowing a bit more casual wear in denim jeans, which we already allow on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but we haven't in the past allowed through the week. So we talked through that. Our administrative team, which is Director Addington, myself, our Human Resources Manager, Sarah Uden Armstrong, worked with the representatives from the union to edit this proposal and come up with a draft that really fit what we were expecting of staff and incorporated some of the requests that they had. And we have included in the board packet the red line of that. And as I said, you will see a lot of strike through in that, but much of it is just making it cleaner and easier to read. Once we accept changes, it will be a lot shorter than it was. There will be a lot less language pertaining to specific departments and what they can wear on certain days. And ultimately, we'll give a very brief outline of what's not acceptable, which was in the language already, but spread out in different places. And then we'll allow for the denim jeans, the business-like denim jeans that are not frayed or ripped or torn, which is what we have allowed in the past on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So as I mentioned, there's really only those two major substantive changes, and the rest is making the language more succinct. But I welcome any questions or thoughts from the board before we ask for a vote of approval.
And if I might add, I think one of the reasons why our dress code was as long as it was is that there were so many exceptions to it. You know, being able to wear denim jeans to work was something that the information technology IT staff was always allowed to do. The page staff has always been allowed to do that. Facility staff have uniforms provided for them. We always allowed a casual day on Friday, so you're always allowed to wear denim jeans on a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. In fact, we've often even told staff, if you know for a fact that you have to do something that is either like an outreach, or you have to work a table, or if you know you're going to be cleaning out something, or you know you're going to be doing something that requires a little more casual clothing, that's perfectly fine. So much of our dress code were exceptions, and once you take out all those exceptions, it actually becomes far more concise and far more real. And I will completely admit, I was often the one who was putting a barrier up to wearing denim jeans every day. I think I've finally been convinced that librarians and members of all staff are able to regulate their clothing in a professional way and look clean and professional and appropriate without us trying to put some limits to their wardrobe options. And we treat people like adults
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
hold them
say,
accountable if something is egregious, but
so in other words, you hired adults.
we hire adults and we treat them like adults and we give them some bodily autonomy over their clothing. I think we want to be that kind of agency, so.
So it doesn't look like there was a prohibition on T-shirts with graphics, logos, and images, so this is new?
No, that was
No?
always
That was
there,
always
yeah.
there? Okay. I was looking for where
Yeah,
it
in
was.
1112.3 at the bottom, where
12.3.
it said commercial political words printed on them. It was all, you could always wear the summer reading graphics, but. And should the trustees approve this, you know, we will have a bit of a rollout to the staff to just be, again, mindful. I think like so many things, you get very comfortable with something and you start to wear that graphic tee that you kind of like and nobody really says anything, so you wear it one more time and then you wear it one more time and then you feel like it's okay. And we may have to have some discussions with staff and say, look, we are willing to be a little more flexible and we want you to be, you know, dressed professionally as appropriate for your job. But we may have to do a little bit of course correction. But yeah, not bad.
So at this time, we would ask for the board to approve revisions to personnel policy number 11.12, the dress code.
Okay. So can I have a motion?
I move that we approve the changes to the dress code.
Okay. So I have a motion from trustee Wong that we approve the dress code as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so now is item 13, District Director's Monthly Report. Director Addington.
Thank you very much. I won't go through everything, but I just wanted to call out a couple of highlights of August. First and foremost, it was our culmination of the Summer at PVLD program, and we absolutely met our 1 million minute goal. In fact, we went well over 1 million minutes. So kudos to the entire staff who put together the summer reading program. We had adult programs, teen programs, children's programs, babies programs. We had a wonderful kickoff down at the Malaga Cove School, and the data supports that our community read all summer long. So kudos to everyone who participated and kudos to all the staff who put it together. We had a really, really wonderful time with that. I highlighted a few of the adult programs, from music programs to crafting programs. Also wanted to call out a great program that the Miralest Library had, which was their bread making class. Our very own senior page, Dylan Walsh, led that and baked bread and sent everybody away with a packet of bread making equipment and materials and ingredients. And it really was a wonderful program and everybody really enjoyed it. We're seeing so many adults use our library, come to our programs, and just look to us as that third space. We have a group of adults that come and sit almost every day here at the Peninsula Center Library and play cards and play mahjong, and it's just lovely to walk around and see them utilizing our space. But then they see programs like this and they're excited about them and they make the effort to go to them. I know Miralest has really cultivated a group at that library that love the programs and love the staff, and so it was wonderful to see Dylan be highlighted in this way. As Trustee Uno said, we are accepting all applications right now for the Art in Our Library Community Art Show. We typically get 150, 170 entries into this art show, and we're looking for a very robust and popular one again this year. With the redesign and recarpeting of the cubicles on the second floor, we're looking for places to store those once the time comes for the pieces to actually come in. We're actually creating a space on that level where the Adult Services Department will be storing those pieces. So we're pretty excited about that. Also just wanted to highlight that we're also doing our annual 2025 bookmark contest. This is a kind of a signature event for our circulation department. Circulation manager Ketsi Diaz works closely with Executive Director of the Peninsula Library Friends Foundation, Merlin David. On this, the Friends typically pay for the printing of these bookmarks, which we then hand out at all the libraries. So library staff facilitate the contest itself. We all judge. I think even the trustees have judged the bookmarks in the past. And then we have a celebration typically in this room where we announce the winners and everybody takes photos and stuff. So I've seen some of the entries already, and I think this is going to be a tough voting year because there are some really lovely entries. So just wanted to make sure that the public was aware that that's going on. Facility staff is busy as ever, doing everything that they can to keep our buildings as clean and neat and tidy as possible. And I will say right now, with the second floor project going on, they have just really gone above and beyond. I think they've been working pretty much nonstop to relocate people's offices, move equipment, clear things, put things in storage, throw away old material, bring in the shredding company to shred old stuff, move people out of offices, move them right back into the offices once the carpeting goes in. So they have been just doing a stellar job, and we're really, really looking forward to new carpet on the second floor. I want to echo again publicly that the administration offices will be closed on October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Administration staff will be doing some remote work, answering phones, checking their email, but because of the carpeting project and because everything has to be cleared out and then everything has to be brought back, including all of the computers and everything, it just didn't lend itself to be open to the public. So they'll be doing behind the scenes work, and then we will be back open on Monday. So it's a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then Monday morning, we'll be back up and ready. There will be no impact to passport services, though. It doesn't affect anything in the foyer. But for the first time in, over 20 years, we'll actually have carpet that's not stained. So we're pretty excited about that. And then my final call out, I just wanted to acknowledge our Staff Pay It Forward Award winner this month is Maria Grimaldo. Maria is one of our branch staff, and as you can see from what Michelle Hubachek had to say about her, she is just a gem, and we are truly thrilled and blessed to have Maria on our staff. So happy to answer any questions, but that is my report for now, and I'll leave it as that.
Okay, are there any questions?
I have one quick one. The last section on Evan's participation in the PLA
yes.
Leadership Academy. So the 28 participants from public libraries across the country. What was the selection process like?
I'm not sure. I know he had to do an application. He had to write an essay for it. I think he had to answer questions, put his name forward, and then there is a selection process. I don't know how many people go for it. I will say it's a pretty robust program, so you have to be able to commit the time to it. There is, of course, a cost to the district, but it's not something that was going to put a burden on our budget or on training budget or travel budget. So we were very excited to support him in that. I did need to write him a letter of recommendation. So applicants had to go to their supervisor, to their director, to their city librarian, whoever that might be, and then have a body of work that the PLA deemed was on that cusp of like being a true leader in the profession. And I'm very, very excited for Evan. I think he's going to do a fabulous job, and I think we're going to benefit from him ultimately. So,
That sounds
yeah, we
great.
were very pleased for him, very thrilled.
Thanks.
Okay. Next, we have number 14, ad hoc committee report regarding alternate director compensation, Vice President Butler and/or Secretary Wong.
I think that Trustee Butler will concur. We've researched as far as we're going to research, and we decided that tonight we're just reporting that we've completed our research. When we consider the fact that October, we're going to be interviewing for a new trustee, so that might be a long meeting. Perhaps what we could do is budget time in the November meeting to go ahead and share our thoughts from the research. We could have a modest discussion and then make a choice. And especially since, based on when Director Addington had her most recent step up, our decision to have a discussion in November really is not going to run into any kind of timelines.
Okay. All right. And I think we were thinking about sunsetting it in November, or was it October?
Yeah, that's about right. I think that this assemblage of trustees believes ad hoc should not go forever.
Right.
So,
Yeah, right. And so when I called it, I think I gave us a sunset date. So, but that's fine. Okay. Did you want to
November.
add anything?
No, that's
Okay.
it. We'll talk in November.
All right, thank you. All right, so next we have number 15, Community Relations Committee Report from Vice President Butler.
I'll just share this past Saturday, the 68th birthday of the City of Rolling Hills Estates was celebrated with their annual city celebration this year taking place at Ernie Howlett Park. The library was very well represented with a table and distributing materials. And it was well attended by elected officials and other community stakeholders from all over the peninsula.
Okay.
That's all I want to share.
All right, great. Well, I'm sorry I missed it. I was sick, so
Sorry about that.
missed attending. So Peninsula Library Friends Foundation report from me, which I was still sick, so I'm going to have Director Addington.
The last Peninsula Library Friends Foundation, both Deputy Director Roy and I were in attendance. I think I had very little to report other than, of course, to formally share the passing of Trustee Park. Many of the board members on the foundation were already aware of it. Both Trustee Park and his wife Sharon were very engaged in the Friends, in the foundation, and still working as volunteers right up until the very last minute. So, but we did share that. They were able to share with us just some update on their outreach, their community events, the book sales. And then we were able to participate with them. They shared a little kind of test quiz, I guess, a board quiz with about maybe 20 different questions where the question was, is this a staff role? Is this a board role? Or is this a shared role? And it was just very interesting, very quick, very casual, but kind of went through them and said, actually, this is a task that the staff should do. This is a task that the board should do. And they included us in on that, which I thought was very generous of them. And I think it just illustrated to me that they're trying to educate their board and their staff on what the roles are, who does, who puts together an agenda, who should talk to a donor, who should be doing this, and which of those roles are staff roles and which are board roles and which are shared roles. So it was a nice meeting. And then, of course, they continued on without us. But I think my work with Susan, we've been working on the joint agreement, and other than that, we're kind of in there. I had a good conversation with Susan the other day about the bookmark contest, which, as I said, the Friends of the Library paid for the printing on that. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next, we have item 17, the Government Relations Liaison Report from Trustee Easton.
I just have nothing library specific, but as I mentioned earlier, the Election Rigging Response Act was signed by Governor Newsom, which allows Californians to adopt a new temporary congressional map in response to the congressional redistricting in Texas at a special election in November.
Okay, thank you. Next is item 18, items for future agendas.
So what I have on our agenda so far for October is we will have an audit report. And then the process for interviewing for the vacant seat. In previous agendas, we've seen that this listed out as 3 separate agenda items. The first were the interviews for the vacant seat. The second is the passage of a resolution selecting the candidate. And then third is the actual presentation of the oath of office swearing in the candidate. So all of those things will happen. I can also reach out to the trustees ahead of time. I'll email you guys just with an outline of the process of how we'll do it. And we can also share that information at the beginning of the meeting with the candidates themselves so that they know exactly just what the actual housekeeping process is of how that's going to go. We will also have the ad hoc update. Oh, no, we were going to do that in November. So sorry, put that off. We should have the joint agreement update, though. I'm hoping to have that. October is also when we would normally have a quarterly Peninsula Friends of the Library report. But honestly, I'd like to have a conversation with President Paul about that. I almost wonder if we might not, as a board, want to discuss how many times or what the expectation is for the Friends to report to us. In the past, I think because we were so jointly doing things together, having a quarterly report made sense. It honestly might not make sense anymore. So that's a conversation I'd like to start with President Paul. I'll continue it with President Nuno, and then maybe we'll bring it to the board as a whole. It may almost be more, it may make more sense to get like an annual report from them, kind of around they're starting to do an annual financial report, like a formal annual report. Maybe something more like that would make sense because we just don't have the same reporting that we did. And it might not, I think it would probably be beneficial to both agencies if we kind of reviewed that. But we will have the audit, we will have the interviews, the selection, the swearing in, a joint agreement update, and that's for now.
And I think that's
That's probably enough.
right. Okay, so is there anything that any of you would like to discuss at the next meeting? No, okay. All right, so that being said, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn.
We have a motion from trustee Easton to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.